like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open your shut so the world can see. You're a beautiful pearl. Live your day like you mean it. And don't forget who you are. You're free to go anywhere. There's no distance too far. And I just can't get enough of your energy. I just can't get enough. You're the spark shining in the dark. Oh, 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 love.
Welcome to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville. I am so excited you're here today. Today we have a wonderful show in store for you. It's a show with a guest that is very near and dear to my heart, and you're going to meet him in a few minutes. But first, it is what it is. It's a show with real people, real life stories, stories about adversities, overcoming adversities, and inspiring others through sharing their stories. So my job here on this show is to share stories, real life stories. I hope you've been enjoying all of our shows and you continue to enjoy and watch and support, share, comment, and like. So on to mitzvah time. I want to talk about the mitzvah of a very special mitzvah of the guest that I have today. Now, my guest today, his name is Gary Knepler. Now, you all know me as Cindy Seville, but my maiden name was Knepler. So Gary Knepler happens to be my father. Now, my dad, many years ago, we were talking on the way here. I said, what's a special mitzvah that you've done? And he's done a lot, obviously. He's a good man. He's done crazy amounts of mitzvot. But the special mitzvah that we were talking about on the drive here today was the fact that he started a driving school, and the reason why he started a driving school. Way back when he was younger, he lost his brother to a car accident, and my Uncle Howard, actually. And I hardly knew him. I was a couple, 2-3 years old when he passed. But my father wanted to help my grandfather with the grieving process, and what they wanted to do was to reach out and help others, educate others, so that this didn't happen to other families. So when that began, my dad got involved with the driving school, and it has helped so many people. He's educated people as far as, obviously all traffic laws, drinking, driving, whatever. He's kept people safe. He'll tell you a little bit more about it later, but that he carried on for the rest of his life, and it's a booming business, but it's helping so many people. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's a special mitzvah, something that happened from something very sad in his life, and he took that around, he turned it around, and he's helping so many others. He's been for many, many years, so thank you, Dad. Now, give away my book, It Is What It Is. Comment, like, and share, and that's how you get to win my book. Don't go anywhere. Make sure, again, you comment, like, and share, and we will see you right back with Gary Knepler, my dad, after this commercial break. See you in a second.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Saville. I have a wonderful guest here today, my father, Gary Knepler. Welcome, Gary.
And Princey, thank you.
And Princey.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here today and blessing us with your presence. And it is quite a blessing.
It is.
Yes. So, Dad, I'm going to call you Dad.
Okay.
All right, because you're my dad. I can't call you Gary. That's kind of weird, right?
Whatever.
Gary, Dad. So, Dad, we're here for a reason. We're going to talk about that reason in a little bit. But tell us a little bit about you. Give us a little history. Where were you born? How old are you? And now, first of all, everybody, I can answer all these questions myself. I have cue cards, but they're blank, as you can see, because I know the story. So anyways, I'm holding it up as a prop because I'm just comfortable holding them now. But Dad, tell everybody who doesn't know you.
I'm a Bridgeport boy, and I guess that would be equal to around here, maybe a Bronx person. I don't know. But I'm a Bridgeport. I was born in Bridgeport, raised in Bridgeport. I live in Florida, and I've always been active in the community. I've had many different positions. I've enjoyed special ed teacher, property development and management, driving school, but specifically for special needs. Probably the world's leader in training people within the spectrum disorder community. It's the autistic spectrum disorder community, as well as many other disciplines. I've been invited to do traffic safety studies all over the world, and to also do my driver education all over the world. And other than that, I've had a few incidents in life that have been life-saving that I think we're going to be talking about.
We're going to talk about a lot.
Go on.
We have 45 minutes to spend
Good.
now. So Bridgeport, Connecticut, because obviously the show is aired all over the internet. So Bridgeport, Connecticut, and you're currently in between Florida, Connecticut now. What do you prefer, Florida or Connecticut?
They both have different flavors. Connecticut, I have my family, I have business. Florida, I have business, and I have my home, and I love my home. I have very good friends. The difference may be in the medical servicing that I received in Bridgeport, although I did have good medical servicing in Florida as well. So that's where I'm in between. But I live in Florida. I love the tropical climate, and I love my home, and I love my life there.
Well, you have a beautiful home, because I love it too, and I love the climate, and one day maybe I might be joining you in Florida.
You know, we've got the extra bedrooms.
I know, quite a few. So we're going to talk about your medical journey. And I mean, obviously, Dad, you have quite a history. You've achieved so many different things in life. You have quite a name for yourself. Anywhere I go, I've actually used your name to get out of tickets. And it helps when your dad owns a driving school. You've made a good name for yourself in all the great things you've done, real estate and the teaching, the driving school, the diagnostics, all the goodwill you've done, the volunteer services, everything, the synagogue, and your involvement in that. So you've kind of made a name for yourself, which is great because I use it to my advantage whenever I can.
Remember, we trained a lot of the police as well, and we do their continuing education as well.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. So the whole medical thing. Now you decided, when did you decide that you wanted to do the gastro bypass surgery? Because you were never this thin. You were thin years ago. You're 6'2". You've always been a husky guy. I mean, I get my height from you, my bone structure from you, not my mom, because she's like a tiny thing. But when did you decide and why did you decide that you wanted the gastro bypass surgery?
Let me backtrack.
Okay. 2010,
I had a horrible disaster in surgery where a sponge was left in me. It cultured bacteria, the worst being E. coli, that plagued me for a long time, affected my organs, affected my lifestyle. I was thin prior to that operation, but I gained a tremendous amount of weight. I could not be active.
Now you almost died from that.
10 days after the sponge was taken out, the doctor came in, the surgeon, and said, look, 10 days ago I thought we were going to lose you, but you're going to make it now. And I said, well, thank you for your honesty, because I knew also where I was at. I'd made my own funeral arrangements. I don't think you were aware of it,
No,
nor
I
the
was.
family.
I was.
And I knew I was,
I was there every day.
I knew I was checking out, but thank God I survived. Fast forward, I gained a lot of weight from being an avid bicyclist. I was no longer bicycling. I couldn't do anything active. And in 2021, I talked to my primary and I said, I want to go for gastric bypass. She said, no, a sleeve. I said, no, gastric bypass. If I go for the gastric bypass, the hormone that controls the urges, controls the cravings, will be locked in the unused portion of the stomach, and I won't have to worry about overeating ever again. But that's dramatic. I said, I'm used to drama and I'm used to dramatics. That's fine. That's what I want. I met with a surgeon in Florida. First, I asked in Connecticut. And in Connecticut, they wanted me to wait either 6 months or New York Bariatrics, which is very good. Said I was too old to be a candidate for them to work on. In Florida, in June, I saw the bariatric surgeon. How soon can we do this? Well, you have to go through the psychological processing, the nutritional classes, and if you can do that, the earliest I can fit you in is October 5th. Fine, I'll take it. And that's when I had it, October 5th of 2021. 2 days before, because I'd lost a lot of weight, I was debating whether or not to do it, but I said, no, I'm going through with it, again, because of that hormone. And I don't have any regrets about going through it. I've just had every complication that you could have that follows, and that I didn't anticipate.
Yeah, no, you've had so many issues. Let me ask you, do you think you could have done it on your own without the surgery?
Absolutely. There's no question I could have done it. I was ready.
Losing the weight, I'm saying.
But I was afraid I'd be a yo-yo again, because I've been a yo-yo too many times in life, and I didn't want to be a yo-yo. I used to tease people. I said, I want to be light for the pallbearers. I didn't realize I might have to call on the pallbearers sooner than I thought.
Yeah. So you had the surgery in Florida.
Yes.
And did you have, I mean, they obviously check your health, and were you cleared? You were cleared to have the surgery?
We had an agreement, not only cleared, we had an agreement, the surgeon and I. She was superb. Can't say anything negative. She did an outstanding job. And she wanted to do what's called the sleeve, which is less invasive. What I had, they readjust your plumbing. Most people's stomach is probably here. Mine's over here.
Oh, wow.
And she was worried about scar tissue from that surgery in 2010 and 11. Well, what she did was she went in and she said, you know, there's not much scar tissue. She was able to do the Roux-en-Y, it's called, of gastric bypass, the most extreme of all. I was thrilled when I heard it. I'm still thrilled. My stomach was the size of a golf ball. I was excited about that. Now, my latest procedure, which you'll hear about in a little while, my stomach is about this big, which is an oversized marble.
Oh, geez.
So I have to eat several times a day, and I can only eat a little bit at a time. And I drink, I just put it to my lips. But I'm okay with that.
But you're not hungry?
No, very rarely. I get weak, but I'm not hungry. Only at night do I want to eat because I don't sleep well. But that's from all the hospital stays, and they keep waking you up. And in December, I started complaining to the primary and to the surgeon that I didn't feel right. I was having pain in the center of my abdomen, and I was extremely lethargic. Well, come to find out, April 14th, I had an attack. The ambulance brought me to the hospital. I was in Connecticut, and I had a strangulated bowel from the scar tissue that grew in like a forest, but like weeds covering.
But that was a scar tissue, I mean, it was forming after this gastro bypass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was also coupled with constricted blood. The reason I was so lethargic, my blood supply, my flow was being strangled as well. The ambulance got me to the hospital. It's thrilling to hear that you have 2 hours to live. You know, they did the surgery, and here I am to talk about it. Well, I got out of the hospital, waited a week, drove down to Florida. The day I get to Florida, I call my bariatric surgeon. Did you get the records? No. I said, I've got this bulge in my groin area. Gary, get in here right away. It was stool ready to burst out
Oh my
of
gosh.
that
And
hernia.
that's toxic.
If I didn't get in right away, they said I wouldn't make it through the night. So there's another surgery, April 27th.
Wow.
Got out in May, recuperated somewhat in May,
Yeah.
came up for Father's Day. Father's Day, the family
I remember
came over,
Father's Day.
and that night I ended up in the hospital with 2 internal hernias. Unfortunately, where the ghrelin, that hormone, was locked into that pouch. That pouch opened up. Supposedly the ghrelin didn't get out, but it opened up, and part of the
Ghrelin is what again?
Ghrelin is
Ghrelin.
the hormone that controls the craving or the
Oh,
urges.
okay. Okay.
And that's what I wanted locked in. Well, that pouch opened up, and what got stuck in there was part of my bowel. And then there were 2 internal hernias, and the other part of the bowel got stuck in the other hernia. So I'm in the hospital for that. I get out.
This is all from scar tissue?
No,
you think?
no,
Oh.
no. That was because I lost so much weight
Okay.
in
Things
a short
shift
time.
around, is that it?
Short time, and the adhesions opened up. They were only fat tissue that was keeping it
How
closed.
much did you lose? How much weight total would you say?
About 130 pounds, give or
Okay.
take. And
What
then,
do you weigh now?
well, I was 175, 176. Now, this morning I was 179.8, which is good.
Yeah, you
because
need-
I need to gain some weight.
You do. You're 6'2".
I need, no,
You shrunk.
6 feet.
Are you 6 feet? No. No.
Yeah, I shrunk. And after that surgery, it was June 19th, in the hospital. I get out for a few days, see the doctor, I'm okay. That night, I have a catastrophic bleed. That means all the blood comes out of your
Oh, we're going to talk
system.
about that. Don't talk about that yet.
Okay.
Don't talk about that yet. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few other things, but that's going to be in our next segment. And you know, a lot of, quite a few of the viewers actually know the story, but they don't know all the details. And that's why I want to bring you on to share, because it was, let me tell you, I still have PTSD from that. It was.
You and your brother will definitely.
Yeah, like I
and
want to cry
so will
thinking
Andrea.
about it right now. Whew, like, yeah, it was beyond horrible to see somebody that you love. I am going to cry. Truly beyond horrible to see somebody you love literally dying in front of you, and there's nothing anybody can do. But we'll talk about that afterwards. So you had, I mean, listen, Father's Day, I was there, and I remember showing up, and you did not look good. Again, you're very weak. You were falling asleep everywhere. You had no energy. Totally opposite the father that I grew up with, that had, was always on the go. I mean, you still to this day drive to Florida nonstop, back and forth, and you're 75 years old. And I wasn't. I did ask you your age, and you did not answer.
You noticed that.
But just incredible what you were like a pincushion, and you even said, I don't want to be a pincushion anymore. Surgery after surgery after surgery, and we kept saying to you, God, we wish you didn't have that surgery, but I understand why you did it. I understand why. It's just
The E. coli, which you don't know, I don't think, the E. coli affected my major organs, and it diminished my quality of life. Nobody realized how much
that was from
of an
2010.
impact.
That when they
From
left the sponge.
2010,
Yes.
November
Yes.
30th, 2010. And I wanted my life back, and I was willing to take whatever chance to try to get my life back.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what I was going through.
Yeah. No, I remember you even saying, something's wrong, and you were not yourself, and you got a little mean and cranky, but I get it, because you were dying. Like, you
I
were
was
in
in a
pain.
survival mode, or I
Yeah.
was dying, either way you look at it.
Yeah. I stuck by you though, Dad.
And the blood, the bleeding had been, the internal bleeding was a lot longer than anybody realized. We didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know that black in the stool means there's blood.
So ironically, that hospital that happened, that mistake happened to you, they actually, we're going to come back in a second after a commercial break, but they actually saved your life this time.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredible.
Different
Yeah.
management, and now they're
Incredible.
godsends.
Yeah. Well, hold on. We're going to be right back with more from my dad, Gary Knepler. When we come back, you might see a few tears because, like I said, PTSD, definitely have some PTSD from seeing what I saw. But don't go anywhere. We'll come right back after this commercial break.
Do you or a loved one need the care of a nursing home? A vibrant community to call home where there are healthcare professionals available 24/7? Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, located in New Milford, Connecticut, has been offering award-winning care for over 40 years. Whether you are rehabilitating from a cardiac procedure or hip replacement, or seeking a place for your loved one to live where he or she can receive top-notch health care, our team is at the ready. We also accept veteran benefits and offer a special secure memory care unit for residents with Alzheimer's or cognitive-related conditions. Call us at 860-355-0971. Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, a place to heal and thrive.
Welcome to Sunday Dinner with Chef Clemente. This is an all-new show about family cooking, Sunday dinner, things we did as a child, bringing back some memories and some tradition. This is how this dish was born. I'm going to show you that in just a couple of minutes. So, the trick with the meatballs too, when you fry them, you don't want to overcrowd the pan too much. To drizzle, not too much of olive oil right on top of that fish. So, a little flour. A little egg, cella luna, met somebody, everybody drink some wine. Prosciutto going. Pass them around, everybody eat a little bit, come on. You gotta dance. Oh my God! Get together, go visit your mother, your sister, your cousin, bring some pastry, some food, get together, eat, drink, be happy. Who wants some linguine, clams, and pastry?
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville and Gary Knepler, my dad. So welcome back, Dad.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. We didn't go far. Let's talk about what is the reason why you're here today, telling your story. What happened? What was the exact date that you went to the hospital? You were in the emergency room and you were bleeding out.
June 29th.
Okay. Oh, that's right. It was June 29th, day before Karen's birthday. That's right. So what happened that day? Because I know I got a text from you. It said, I'm bleeding out. I'm vomiting blood. I'm pooping blood. It's coming out of every orifice in my body. And I said, Dad, I called you. Call 911. So what happened that day?
I didn't know. Went to the doctor and everything was fine. Went to see Aunt Molly. She wasn't home. Went to the office to see if I could see Howie. Then we went to a diner.
Howie's my brother, your son. Yeah.
We went to the diner in Derby, Connecticut. And
Frenchy.
And what happens is we go to the diner. I order spenakopita, which I love.
Yeah.
And I can't eat it. So bring it home. Not feeling well, stay home. And then at night, I had watermelon. That was the only thing that could slide down. I went to the bathroom. 1:15 at night. I think it was.
Looking at something.
I had to take the X-Lax and I Colace. That helped me go. And then every 45 minutes I was going, and it was red. And I thought it was the watermelon. I didn't know it was blood. And then when I vomited black blood, I called my significant other down, and I didn't know how much blood I had actually lost. And took care of Princey, and then we went to the hospital. She wanted to call 911. I said, no, may not be anything wrong. When I stood up, I realized I could hardly stand. I said, I'll wait for you in the car.
Right.
And that's when I text Howie, your brother, to tell them to have support. I won't be able to make it into the hospital. And I think I don't remember, but I guess I'll let you know that I was
sent me
en
a
route.
text. Yeah, you sent me a text, and I said, "What a text to get! I'm basically bleeding out." And so I called you, and you said, "I'm cleaning the rug or something." You were cleaning because there was blood everywhere, and I said, "Dad, leave it. Go."
It was like Pop Goes the Weasel.
Yeah, I said, go to call 911, get to the hospital. And Princhie's being your guard dog right now. So then you were driven, your significant other drove you to the hospital, and Howie and I met you there. And you got there probably about 9:30, in between 9 and 9:30, because I think you got there just before I did. And
Was that early?
in the evening, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, 9. I got there about 9:30.
Then I'm wrong about when I took the X-Lax and the Colace. That's
Okay.
interesting.
So yeah, it was 9,
a blur.
9:30. I got there for 9:30. You were already in the emergency room, but you were in a surgical room in the emergency room. And it was bad.
I never saw so many people in a tiny cubicle for the emergency. I had so many doctors, nurses' aides. I remember you and your brother, and your brother sent Andrea, my significant other, home because she looked horrible. She was exhausted.
Frazzled, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the PTSD really has affected her terribly. And I feel bad about that. And I asked the doctors, am I dying? Yes, you are, but we're trying to save you. And I said, thank you for what you're doing, but thank you for your honesty. And then when they didn't think I had a chance, they said, it's time to say your final goodbyes. So I said, give me a moment with my kids. Then I had...
Well, when this happened, this happened in the emergency room and then again in the ICU, but yeah.
Right, but then I asked your brother to call Andrea, and I made a joke. I said, I'm not going to call your sister because it's her birthday, and I can't say, happy birthday, Karen, I'm dying. I just couldn't do that.
No.
So I said, you'll give the message for her.
And she had a big birthday celebration that we were supposed to go to.
On the island in Southampton.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. I couldn't go.
Yep.
Couldn't leave you.
Yeah, but that was the first episode, and then they got me to ICU, and I remember, I think most of everything that happened until they intubated me, and of course they put me under, and then induced coma, and thank God I came out of it. That was on a Thursday. I came out of it on a Saturday.
Oh, I could tell you. I could fill in all the gaps. I know you've heard it, but I could fill in all the gaps for everybody listening.
But that's the first bleed.
Yeah. So let's talk about that one. So when I came into the emergency room, Howie and I were taking turns because of their... Howie and I were taking turns because of their silly COVID rules and stuff. I mean, here you are dying and, only one person is allowed to visit with you. So Howie and I were taking turns, and they finally let us both in because they realized this was very, very serious and you were potentially going to die. And but I remember when I was in there, you had said, I don't care if you see my butt, Cindy. You can see, look at what's coming out of me. And they had the pads, they kept putting more and more pads underneath you, and it was at least every 5 minutes at a minimum. Every 5 minutes or less, you were in so much pain because the blood clot, if you remember, the blood clots were building up inside of you, and the pressure of the blood clot, and once they came out, you had no control.
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
Very painful. And once they came out of you, and they were coming out the back end, mostly at that point, because
it was rectal bleeding.
Yeah, I've seen clots. I've had clots, but I mean, it was crazy the amount of blood that was coming out of you, and it was alarming because they were running tests on you, trying to all the blood tests and trying to figure out step by step what was wrong, but the step by step in my mind. They did a great job, but my mind was taking far too long, and you just kept bleeding. And you were it came a point where you said, I'm feeling lightheaded. And I was there. I'm lightheaded, Cindy. I'm dizzy. I'm lightheaded. That's when I knew you lost too much blood. So I told the nurses, and at that point, they started ordering blood for you. And then Howie and I switched again, but they ended up calling both of us in because they realized that they didn't know where the blood. They had to do some
Well, that
research.
was in ICU.
Well, no, in the emergency room, and then together we went to the ICU. And so once you got into the ICU, that's when they told you basically you may not make it. You should say your goodbyes to your father, in case we don't know where he's bleeding, and we have to do our research and try and find out. So what they did was, they intubated you, and they did an endoscopy to try and figure out, because they realized if it's coming out the rear, you were throwing it up, it was coming out the rear end. I did see your butt, Dad. Little butt, by the way. It's a little butt now.
Oh, everything's little now.
And so we sat there. They let us sit because, again, they didn't know if you were going to make it or not. I don't think they ever do this in the ICU. We sat right outside the room that they were working on you, and you must have had 15, 20 specialists working on you, surrounding you at all times. And
they were calling doctors in at midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to come in and work on me.
Yeah. And so we were watching this, and the amount of blood that you lost, they had a young boy, tall, skinny young boy working there. All he did was run blood, and they would say, I need another unit. I need another unit. I need more plasma. I need more this. I need more that. And we're sitting there, and Andrea came back, and we're sitting there watching and in disbelief, not knowing, literally shaking, is he going to make it or not? We didn't know if you were going to make it or not, you're going to live or die. And you ended up needing how many units of blood, how many units of that first time?
First time was, I don't think it includes what I got at ER, because I had at least 7, 8, who knows, that I can recall. 19 units of blood the first time.
And 19 units of plasma. And I think it was 5 units of platelets. And
there's something
other
else they
stuff.
put in me. I forgot what else.
Yeah. So the human body holds 10 to 12, right, units of blood. I looked it up.
Yeah, but I kept expelling it as they put it in.
Right. So you lost enough for really 2 people right there. And all those people that donated blood, I mean, I'm sure that the units of blood and the units of plasma and all that are from all different people. You have so many different types of blood in you right now, or so many blood from so many different people.
I'm either very healthy or I'm pretty sick, one or the other.
Well, let's hope they tested it really well. I think you have superhuman powers right now, yes. And I would think you have a lot of natural immunities, right, because of all the different blood that they gave you. So it's not a bad thing, I guess. But
I'm very lucky.
So they worked on you for a couple of hours, and it was actually hard getting...
One gastroenterologist was an hour and a half. They asked her to do something. She's a friend of the family. She said, I'll kill him. He's going to die anyway. They called her partner. He came in. He worked on me for 2 to 2.5 hours, I heard, so there's 4 hours. Then they called in his partner for another 2 to 2.5 hours.
Well, no, that first time, they didn't do that long. No. The first time, it was probably... I mean, they worked on you until...
I heard she was doing it for an hour and a half.
It was about 2.5 hours, I would say, that they did the endoscopy.
No, but...
Before that...
she had to do, but then she didn't want to do the final thing that they asked. So the other doctor came in.
The cauterization or whatever they did.
Yeah, but he spent quite a bit of time. And then the third as well. And the second worked on me, the second bleed.
The great news at that time, which, the great news didn't last too long, but the great news was that they stopped the bleeding. So we thought, wow, Dad's fixed.
Yeah, I got a reprieve for a week.
Yeah. You were on, what happened? They put you on liquids, right?
Oh, a liquid diet only.
Yeah.
And I'm still on soft food diet. But then a week later, I'm ready to leave the hospital to go to rehab. And I start vomiting blood again.
But wait, we're going to talk about that after. Hold on. Okay. You're jumping ahead, but this is good. But before that, so what exactly was the problem?
I had an ulcer. I don't remember the name, Duodo or something like that, ulcer, where the stomach and the intestine meet. And it was most likely caused by a medication that I was taking for another issue, prednisone. And you're not supposed to have steroids if you've had gastric bypass. So the whole stomach, I had to be disconnected from the stomach and the intestine.
Oh,
I was
that
fed
was after,
intravenously. Yeah.
That was after. So it was just a huge, it was actually, I think they said 180 or 190 degree ulcer. It was a very large, deep ulcer between your stomach and your jejunum. I learned what a jejunum is.
I thought my intestine, because
Yeah.
they separated it all.
Yeah, no, but that's the top of your intestine that connects to your stomach. So your stomach, we learned a lot. Let me tell you, we got quite an education for almost the month that you were in the hospital.
Yeah, those doctors were amazing.
Incredible.
Had to reform my stomach and redo the connection. Unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah.
35-year-old doctor.
You want to give his name, give a shout out?
Nicholas Dugan. I mean, he's the bariatric surgeon, but there were so many doctors who worked on
Do you remember
me.
any of their names to give them a shout out?
I remember
The
Gina.
hospital?
St. Vincent's Hospital, but it's
In Bridgeport,
it's under
Connecticut.
the management of the Hartford Hartford Medical Healthcare Group. I think that's what they call themselves. They are absolutely phenomenal. And the irony is, when it was under their own management, they almost killed me in 2010. When it's under this Hartford group, the care that I received was exemplary. I just cannot believe how wonderful everybody was in trying to keep me alive.
Incredible. Do you know everywhere
A number of them were graduates of the Knepler driving school,
Yeah.
or their kids were, or
Yeah.
their relatives.
Well, when we were sitting in the ICU and you were intubated, all of a sudden I hear a nurse come in. She was coming in for her shift, and we were there nonstop with you. It was late at night, and I hear, Knepler Driving School? Is that Gary Knepler from Knepler Driving School? And I ran out. I'm like, that's him. So much for HIPAA. I mean, HIPAA, no one's supposed to know anything. Everybody knew you in the hospital. When I came in, and you have to check in, the guy says, "You're here to visit Gary Knepler from the driving school?" I said, "That's him." I go up there, the nurses, the doctors, everybody. Yeah, it's my dad. And everybody would say, "How's your dad doing?" So, well, obviously not so good. We're still here. So, well, we're going to take a break, Dad, and we're going to talk about the second part of all this, and we'll go on from there. All right?
Okay.
So we will be right back after this commercial break. Stay tuned. More details coming soon. We'll see you in a minute.
Silvermine at Home, a Connecticut-based non-medical home care agency servicing Connecticut and parts of New York. Silvermine caters to their clients' needs while offering peace of mind to their families so their loved one can age in place and live their best life possible. Call today to see how they can make a difference in you or your loved one's life. Our family caring for yours. Visit silvermineathome.com or call 203-228-5007. Do you or a loved one need the care of a nursing home? A vibrant community to call home where there are healthcare professionals available 24/7? Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, located in New Milford, Connecticut, has been offering award-winning care for over 40 years. Whether you are rehabilitating from a cardiac procedure or hip replacement, or seeking a place for your loved one to live where he or she can receive top-notch health care, our team is at the ready. We also accept veteran benefits and offer a special secure memory care unit for residents with Alzheimer's or cognitive-related conditions. Call us at 860-355-0971. Candlewood Valley Health and Rehabilitation, a place to heal and thrive.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
This is a sexy show. Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey. The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor,
You like De Niro when Kate appeared. Counselor!
entertainment,
Jesse's girl.
Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
And optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Let's laugh together.
I love you.
The Suki and Scott Show.
Welcome back to It Is What It Is with Cindy Seville and my dad, Gary Knepler. So, Dad, we're going to talk about the second part of the blood loss, the severe blood loss. We thought you were done. You were going to rehab. You were ready to go to rehab that day, and you started saying before we broke for commercial that you couldn't. You were trying to drink and it wasn't going down, right? Protein drinks, is that what you were?
I had a protein drink, and it popped again, and I staggered to the nurse's station because I rang the thing, but nobody came right away, so I staggered to the nurse's station without a walker, holding onto the railing. I was the next one to be checking out to go to the rehab. Thank God I didn't go to rehab.
Thank God.
I would have died.
Absolutely.
So I said, I don't think I'm going anywhere. I said, look in this cup. That's how it starts. I said, it's all blood.
You threw up. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
in the
spit
cup. Andrea gave me a cup. Then I walked back. They came right away. They were with me. I don't know if they put me in a wheelchair or not. They brought a porta potty. I said, I can go to the bathroom. No, we want to see exactly what's coming out. And again, the blood, only it came out faster this time, and I lost more blood at a faster time, which I don't know how that's possible, but I required 25 units of blood and whatever the other count is. And
I think it was 25 units of plasma, and then there was, again, the platelets. And, well, what happened was, I think I don't know if I called you or I texted you. I said, how you doing, Dad? I wasn't in the hospital that day. And until you told me, I'm bleeding again. And so I raced back to the hospital.
I thought you were.
I was. No, I got there. I raced back to the hospital, and I got there just as they were rushing you out of the room. So you were thinking of bed, and they were literally almost running with you down the hall. I mean, they were moving fast because they knew if this
I was
opened
dead
up,
otherwise.
Exactly. So we went with you to, it was the gastro where they did the procedures, the endoscopies and stuff in the hospital. It wasn't an operating room, but so they were going to try it again. They were going to do another scope. They intubated you. They were doing another scope, and again, we kind of had to say our goodbyes. And you spoke to Howie. We called Howie on the phone.
I did?
Yeah, I had you call Howie, and I think you were a little nervous because you spoke to somebody about your, final wishes and things like that, and getting everything.
I had done that beforehand. I knew that my time was limited.
Yeah, and so I said, Dad, stop, call Howie, don't worry about it. They fixed you before, they're going to fix you again. So I was there, Andrew was there, and they took you into
But remember, the doctor said
there's no guarantees.
And he also said there's a good chance you're going to die.
Yes.
They knew I appreciated the honesty.
Yeah. And again, they said they're going to do everything they could, So they took you in, and we didn't hear anything. And Howie showed up by that point. We were waiting for you in the waiting room, and we heard nothing. And time went on, and the doors were locked. They didn't let us wait in there, so we were outside, and so we couldn't get in. And next door was, I don't know if it was a cardiac, I don't remember what it was, but the doors are open and there were a lady sitting in the front desk. So I went in there finally. It was almost 2 hours we waited. Now Howie has your medical information on his cell phone. So when we saw blood ordered and more blood ordered and more blood ordered, and we're like, holy shit, it's happening again. He's bleeding out. We were flipping, freaking out. We also saw people walking by that worked at the hospital with coolers that were blood in the coolers. And I finally said to somebody, is that from my father? Is that blood from my father, Gary Knepler? And they said, no, but I think it was because they kept bringing you blood.
I cleaned out the hospital. They had to call the blood bank. and I required 25 units of blood.
The second time.
Yeah, and but they had to call the blood bank to bring more blood in.
They called it was a protocol. They said it was a catastrophic blood loss, and it was, what was the protocol called? It was I wrote it down. Anyways, it was a catastrophic blood loss, and so they open the blood, they explain, they open the blood bank so they can take whatever they need. They don't have to order it. They go and they grab whatever they need. So they realize it's a life or death, obviously, situation, and, you know, you can't keep ordering blood. You don't know how much blood you're going to need. And so, so finally, I went up to the ladies a couple of times and said, can you just please get us an update? We know it's not good. You know, we really know it's not. I know I don't want to take the doctors away, obviously, but if somebody could let us know what's going on, it's very scary to see all this blood being rushed to my father and being ordered, the blood and the plasma and everything. We know what happened the first time. So just about 15 minutes later, they were done, but they weren't done. So the gastro specialist, he came with, I guess, his assistant, and they came out to talk to us. And his first words
That would have been the surgeon, probably. There were two in there, I was told.
Well, he didn't operate on you. He was doing the...
Right.
Yeah,
the surgeon
endoscopy.
operated
Okay.
under
He was from the gastro office, the
Okay.
doctor's office. I don't know, but he came out, and he worked on you the first time. So whoever did the first time, he was the one doing the second time. And he came out, and he said to us, I'm sorry. And as soon as he said, I'm sorry, I almost had a heart attack. Like, I want to cry thinking about it. It was awful. He says, I couldn't stop the bleeding. And I thought, oh, did he bleed out? Like, I'm getting teary-eyed. Like, I honestly thought you died at that moment. And he puts his hand up, he goes, no, hold up. He goes, I never give up, he says. And for me to have to give up, he says, I couldn't stop the bleeding. He's in the OR now. He's still alive. I was like, oh, thank God. But Howie and I, you should have seen Howie's face also. Two of us were a hot mess. And so they brought you to they rushed you to the operating room because they realized they had to do that last resort. And that last resort was what? Tell us what they did to you.
And that was Dr. Dugan, who I think was in surgery himself.
No,
surgery.
he was home. He wasn't even on call. And they called him to come in that day.
But he didn't do the surgery. Another doctor did, under his guidance.
Okay, but he was there.
Yep.
Yeah, he was there.
He told me, yeah.
So what exactly I know what they did to you, but tell everybody what they did to you.
They cut the ulcer out. They disconnected the stomach and the intestine, and I was fed intravenously, induced a coma again. It was ironically a Thursday. I woke up on a Saturday, but the reason I say Saturday, if we have the time, it's extremely significant that I woke up on a Saturday, and it was amazing. And the first time that I thought I was dying, told me I was dying.
You were dying.
As I was going under, I thought of my baby here, Princey. I thought of my 3 youngest grandchildren. And I thought of Julia, my 20-year-old granddaughter.
Almost 20.
And I thought of those. That's what I thought of as I went under. And I do believe I'm alive because I still have something that's going to be significant in one of their lives. Because I believe in predestination and predestiny. I do believe that we have a mission in life. I do believe that once we accomplish the mission, we graduate into the next dimension. Unfortunately, we know it is death. But I do believe I have something. You talk about mitzvah. Mm-hmm. Well, I still have more mitzvot, which is plural, to accomplish. I do believe it was God's intervention. It becomes very spiritual. Everything takes on a different dimension.
Yeah.
You sit outside. I always love nature. But you're part of nature, and you enjoy it. If somebody's got a gripe, you let them gripe. You don't react. You let them gripe. They get it off their chest. It's not going to make any difference. It's the perspective in life has profoundly changed.
I can relate to that.
Profoundly.
I can
And
relate
I was worried about you, your brother, and Andrea because of the PTSD. And now I understand Andrea a little better now. I think it's the PTSD.
Yeah. No, it's still, obviously you can see it affects me talking about it. Seeing what I saw, seeing you bleed out like I've never seen anybody. I had a procedure once and I was passing clots, and I remember how I felt. It was bad. It was nothing like what you went through. I didn't need a blood transfusion, and especially enough where, let me tell you, 45 minimum people, that's 45 units of blood or more, could be over 50 because the emergency room, and then the plasma and the platelets. You must have had over 100 people donating stuff that literally saved your life.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible to think, I always knew that donating blood, I used to donate blood before I had Lyme disease, then they didn't want my blood anymore. And then cancer, they certainly don't want my blood. So, but I always did donate, and I felt good about it. And, you don't realize how important, it's a gift of life, and that gifted you life. I mean, you would not be here today if those people, there's a whole lot of factors involved, but if those people didn't donate the blood, because if the blood and the plasma and all that wasn't available, you wouldn't be here. If the doctors, didn't react, and weren't as skilled as they were, you wouldn't be here,
Ironically, the 2010 surgery played a factor in a lot of this, because the scar tissue, because the damage was so great from 2010, the gauze in me, scar tissue was able to anchor on that, and that's how it grew. It's amazing how that initial surgery caused so much demise in my life.
Absolutely.
So much.
Absolutely. Well, you're a miracle. You're here today. I watched, you beat all odds. I think we lost probably about a good month of our life spending, which is fine, spending it in the hospital. I lost my tan and everything. I was in the hospital every day. I even slept they even told me, they made me go home, because when you were intubated, I couldn't leave you. And to see someone intubated is horrible. To see you go through what you went through was horrible. But I am so grateful, the fact that you're here. And I agree, perspective totally changes everything. Even bad smells smell wonderful because you're alive to smell them. And, you're just, with the cancer, I have my own, facing life or death. And, but tell everybody a little, we have just like a minute or two left. Tell everybody what you do, how they could reach you.
I'm a driver rehab specialist as well as a driving instructor. My son runs Connecticut, I run Florida. We get people from all over the world. We specialize in special needs population, geriatric, early onset of Alzheimer's, dementia, traumatic brain injury, within the autism spectrum disorder, developmentally delayed, attention deficit, hyperactivity, learning disabled, you name it. And we enjoy having the extremes. And what we do is, we also do traffic safety studies, but what we do is we generally do a diagnostic driving evaluation to see the drivability. Should this person be driving or not? And those are psychologicals and cognition and perception. It's a whole different realm than your average day driving school. Mm-hmm. If it's a student who we're working with, we encourage the family's participation because we want to partner with parents and with the student. If they're adults and we're doing interventions to get them to continue driving, that's driver rehab. But even the psychological aspect for cognition and perception, if they don't meet the threshold, we tell them and we prepare the report for whoever the sending facility is. It could be physician, it could be rehab, could be the courts, lawyers. We send and we give our opinion based on the data that we have. And that's it in a nutshell. We've been invited to do this program in a number of different countries: Israel, Saudi Arabia, Argentina. I've been invited as a people ambassador representing the United States of America to do traffic safety studies in Russia, China, Hungary. There are two other countries, and I did in England as well, but I can't, UK. I can't remember the two other countries offhand, but I've been invited to do traffic safety studies representing this country in highway safety and driver education. They can contact us by Connecticut 203-268-6040. And if you call 203-268-6040, they'll give you the Florida number. And I can't wait till I can get back to work. I didn't think that day would come, and I can't wait.
You're here, you're alive, and you're a miracle. And thank you. So Knepler Driving Schools and Diagnostic Services.
Diagnostic Driving Evaluation Center.
There you go. Thank you, Dad, for sharing your story. Thank you for
having
beating
me.
all odds. And I know you've been one of my biggest fans. And now you get to be on my show. How cool is that?
It's exciting.
I know.
And Princhy, too.
And Princhy.
Although
Princhy's
she's
your
not
service
too
dog.
excited.
She's calm. And you match, by the way, black and white. All right, I'm going to finish with my thank you, Dad, again. Appreciate it. Love you.
Thank you.
Just going to finish with my final thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to my dad's story. Really appreciate it. Final thoughts. Listen, no matter what life throws your way, what curveballs, life throws your way, you can work your way through it. And bottom line, it is what it is. That's my show. It is what it is. And my dad beat all odds. I mean, he is truly a walking miracle. I beat cancer. Many people out there have beat the odds, and so can you. So never give up. All right, that's my final thought. Remember, comment, like, and share. If you'd like to win this book, it is what it is. It's a great book. It'll keep you entertained, I guarantee you. Remember, comment, like, and share. But thank you again for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Have a great night.
Live your life like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open yourself so the world can see. You're a beautiful pearl. Live your day like you mean it. And don't forget who you are. You're free to go